Okay, some of you are very sick and disturbed, tuning in to see what that title meant. Of course, we're poking fun, aren't we? Now, did the Democrats do a live stream? Absolutely. Was Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi there? Absolutely. Did the vast majority of people catch what happened? No. Are we going to cover it today? Of course we are. Oh man, if you missed it, don't worry, because you're about to see, well, what went horribly wrong and what was caught live on tape. And I'll bring that story to you in just a few seconds. Oh, curiosity gets the best of all of us. Don't worry, we're going to get there quick today. Of course, it's going to start and end with President Trump, at least in the first half of the broadcast. I have a meeting with Russ Vought today. He is of Project 2025. I have a meeting today with Russ Vought of Project 2025 fame to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. I guess that's an FAFO moment for the Democrats, who continue to want to, for whatever reason, try to mislead the American public as to exactly why there's a shutdown right now. They had an opportunity to reopen the government yesterday, and as expected, they chose not to. Senate blocks GOP spending bill 55-45, needs 60 to reopen the government, which again, I'm not terribly upset about. This is a lie. Well, what's a lie, Chuck? Chuck's been calling one thing a lie for days now. Democrats are prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens. Chuck Schumer comes out, of course. This is a lie. Not a single federal dollar goes to providing health insurance for undocumented immigrants. Not one penny. How, as a U.S. Senator, could Chuck Schumer make that statement? If there's any truth or reality to that statement, I'd love you to put it in the comments, but we all know better than that, don't we? I'm still dumbfounded as to why he would even feel he wants to literally put that in black and white. Not one penny is going to provide health insurance for undocumented immigrants. Maybe he should listen. And who's this guy? This is Ro Khanna, isn't it? Maybe Ro Khanna's confused. Let's listen to what he has to say.
In terms of healthcare, the reality is they're just not being honest. The amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion of.
A small portion of money would mean money going to undocumented. Now, that's a Democrat. I guess Chuck Schumer is, maybe Ro Khanna doesn't know what's going on, and Chuck Schumer is correct, but the amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion of the Medicaid cuts, or the ACA, if at all. That's one verifiable point. But maybe Ro Khanna is wrong. Maybe Chuck Schumer is right. So we'll go to a second verifiable point that I played for you yesterday.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
Okay, so that's healthcare for everyone. So that's 2 points. So Chucky, your argument here is falling apart. But let's ask for Chuck's opinion directly. Maybe he's got an answer for us.
Every Republican who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer shutdown. What do you say about that name? Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me? I don't think Senator Schumer can hear me right now. Maybe the government shutdown included audio on Capitol Hill.
Maybe it's best he can't hear right now. Another embarrassing moment for Chuck Schumer, many of this week, but when you can't tell a single truth, not a single federal dollar goes to providing health insurance for undocumented immigrants, and you continue to lie, bald-faced lie to the American people, then it's best your audio doesn't work. Because the American people, by overwhelming majority, know exactly what's going on. And we know exactly who's to blame for this shutdown. And all your deflection isn't working anymore. So the mainstream media comes in and attempts to back you up, Chucky, because that's what they do. Because they're just a mouthpiece for the liberal left. They always have been. We know that, right? So George Stephanopoulos comes in. He attempts to back up your argument.
Here are facts. Here are the facts. The proposal does not provide health care for illegal immigrants.
It does, actually, because what it does is it unwinds the changes that Republicans put into the big, beautiful bill. That those provisions have helped to reduce premiums. Why? Because we got ineligible recipients off of Medicaid, illegal aliens. Chuck Schumer's counterproposal on the CR would reverse that. That is a simple fact.
The CBO did not say that about illegal immigrants. You've made your point right there.
He did make his point right there because he's accurate. And Chuck Schumer is not accurate, and George Stephanopoulos isn't accurate. And of course, when I always go to look for accuracy, the first person I go to is AOC, who is, in her own mind, Senate Majority Leader-elect, House of Representatives Leader-elect, and pretty much the President of the United States-elect. In her own mind, just listen to her.
And I saw some Republican members of Congress saying, oh, well, if we have this shutdown, it's because of AOC. Well, if that's the case, my office is open and you are free to walk in and negotiate with me directly.
Wow, AOC single-handedly shut down the government. And if you wanted to reopen, you can go to her office and negotiate with her directly. I can't see why the Democrats are so fragmented right now. I could only imagine what Nancy Pelosi would feel about that. I mean, she does take centerpiece in this story, doesn't she? Listen to her response when asked about that AOC soundbite.
There was a thought from the Republicans that AOC is directing this, and she said that senators are welcome to go to her office directly. Is she driving that?
Why are you saying such a ridiculous thing?
I'm just quoting what AOC said. She said go to her office directly. Do you think there's any credibility to that?
She's not directing this. She's wonderful. She is not. Hakeem Jeffries is. And this takes a lot of experience.
Ooh, ouch. So in other words, AOC doesn't have the experience. She doesn't have the history. She doesn't have the ability. Oh, the infighting in the Democrats is just becoming so tangible to the American public now it's laughable. It's why they're crumbling, they're falling apart. So it's just people are finally realizing that they are an eroded party. They no longer exist in any form. They are fragmented, and they can't unite on anything anymore. And then comes Hillary Clinton. Trump wants to hold the government hostage until Democrats agree to raise healthcare costs for millions of Americans and give him more unchecked power. But healthcare is a human right. And in America, we have no kings. Hillary, just a reminder, you know I enjoy history. You know I'm a journalist, and we do recall some things in the past. Again, some inconvenient truths.
As to illegal aliens, we agree with you that we do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is. We certainly don't want them having the same benefits that American citizens are entitled to have.
Man, I didn't realize Hillary Clinton was a far-right extremist, according to what the media calls us, right? I can't understand why. So many are confused by the Democrats. I mean, they're so clear, they're so concise. I mean, it's almost dividing families or dividing husbands and wives. And for those of you who are going to hear this clip, the two on your screen will be Micah Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, who many don't realize are married. This disagreement is now so tangible that even husband and wife on the same side of the aisle can't even seem to agree anymore.
And there's no consequence to it. And we're blaming the Democrats? We're blaming the Democrats for this. What exactly are the Democrats supposed to do?
You keep repeating. They're supposed to fight back.
Yes.
They're supposed to know. They're
and
supposed
lie
to
as
do
well?
what
Exactly?
No, Obama knew how to always get the best of Republicans.
And gentlemen in my audience, anyone who has ever upset your wife very well knows what that pose means. And that means that someone is going to be sleeping on the couch tonight. But this is how incendiary the entire argument has become now. Because the basic ability to not consume basic fact, or choose not to, because you have lied for so long, you've manipulated fact for so long that you can't even spew out any argument that makes common sense anymore, because you are wrapped so deep in your own lies that you can no longer reach even your general voting base. Isn't that terrifying? How consumed? What do you tell your children and your grandchildren? Be careful. If you continue to lie, eventually it will catch up with you. And you won't be able to keep track of your own lies. And people will see through it. And that's what's happened to the Democrats. But that's why you're here, right? Because we keep it very black and white, very moderated. We just use their own talking points. It's called journalism. It's called evidence. It's called references. A lot of people don't do that. You want my references? As I've told you, you can go to justusknight.com. Or, of course, you can go to our news platform, which is restrictedrepublic.com. You know, we do exclusive content almost daily, either Lisa Haven or myself. I carry on my podcast well over 60% of the time because these broadcasts go longer. Today, I will be covering updates in Chicago, Memphis. Things that they told you weren't going to happen have happened. Gangs that weren't there that are there. Criminals that didn't exist that exist. Guns that weren't going to be there that are there. Drugs that no one had that they have. Amazing how President Trump has been so right on that, huh? Love you to join. There's annual, monthly subscriptions. It's one means of supporting me. Those of you who've helped me to grow on the public platforms, thank you so very much by just listening to some simple request I've had for you to help me with the algorithm, which is to always make sure your bell is checked all, to make sure you're still subscribed, to put a comment, to share, to join as a member, to provide super thanks. All those things help these public platforms to know this news matters. This style of news matters. And what happens, the videos and the channel grow. And that is because of you. And thank each and every one of you for that. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. But now let's get back to this video because we have more whining going on because of the Chuck Schumer shutdown, which it is, no matter how you want to quantify it. But remember, it's always Trump's fault, isn't it?
It's deeply offensive that the president is threatening to fire federal workers if we can't reach an agreement.
I don't find it deeply offensive. No, I find it deeply necessary because it's what we voted for. We can go through the multiple mechanisms of what portions of government is going to shut down or is not going to shut down. Actually, Lisa did an amazing job covering that yesterday. So I'm not going to go through all the departments of Defense Department, Homeland Security, how things, what's going to be affected, because I want to get to the fun parts of the story. Because Trump is going to capitalize on this, obviously, as I would. Russ Voigt's coming in. Russ Vought's coming in. Told House Republicans on a private call that the administration will begin mass layoffs of federal workers in a day or two, which we would expect because it's been part of President Trump's plan from the very beginning. The Democrats just helped him to accelerate it. So thank you, Hakeem Jeffries. Thank you, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, everyone who can't get along. Oh, but that's right. Because Hakeem Jeffries, who wants to claim that this is Trump's fault, wants to use this to grandstand and build his persona. A lot of fight. Hakeem Jeffries is determined to make a mark on the shutdown standoff. The House Minority Leader has made conspicuous moves to make himself a main character in the standoff because he wants to build his brand. So he makes the decision. Oh, thankfully. Oh, I am so grateful to him for making this decision. To do a live stream. Starting when the shutdown began. And that's where everything went wrong. anytime he speaks, things go wrong. Because I see nothing genuine in any words he states. For example, this is when he first took the stage of the live stream.
So, Mr. President, allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm the House Democratic leader. The House Democratic.
There's just nothing more I need to play in that segment at all. It's painful. Allow me to introduce myself. Well, can't we just talk like a normal human being? Can anyone talk like a normal human being? Of course not, but Hakeem thought this was a great idea. I'm going to show everyone that Democrats are working during the shutdown. So I'm going to start a live stream. And people will tune in masse. Gen Z is in the house and other cringe moments in the Democrat shutdown marathon. The live stream. Even Politico stating, "We watched so you didn't have to." And you didn't want to. I couldn't even make it through the hours and hours and hours of, well, not even continual coverage, because they couldn't find enough people to attend who wanted to speak. The Democrats, who are so important, have so many people behind them. Well, just stand by for a moment. In the earliest hours of the shutdown, Jeffries' YouTube channel featured a rotating cast of Democrat House members and influencers. At times, just a few dozen viewers were watching the YouTube stream. This is the self-proclaimed leader of the Democrats. Only had a few dozen viewers at times on the live stream. That was the beginning of the embarrassment. Oh, but it was not the end of the embarrassment. It was a revealing window into the Democrats' larger plight, a struggle to get their message through. In an attention economy that prizes watchability and entertainment. In other words, it wasn't even watchable. It wasn't entertaining. This is according to Politico, their own soundbox, making it almost impossible for them to break through the din of President Donald Trump's never-ending news cycle. It wasn't only President Donald Trump, mind you. Bernie Sanders' podcast eclipsed them. But Hakeem Jeffries wanted to grab the stage. In launching the live stream, which featured the feel of a throwback telethon, notably, Democrats could not field live programming for 3 hours in the middle of the night, 2:30 to 5:30. It just went dead because they couldn't find anybody to keep the live marathon a marathon. Why they chose to do this and further embarrass themselves is beyond me. Stop the Republican shutdown. We will return shortly. Actually, I don't think there's any return for you anymore. I think it's just done. And so you got that through a lot of the podcast. And so that's what you heard through a lot of this live stream, because they were working. But it got worse.
You know, sucks thing. We had so appropriate for him. He's so distinguished and all that. So anyway, when we had this challenge in 2018, when he was going to repeal and replace with I don't know what, but nothing. So when he had that,
at times you couldn't even garner 200 viewers. And you and Hakeem Jeffries and many other Democrats, I guess, chose to air this live to the nation, showing that you have no comprehensive message whatsoever, showing you couldn't even garner views, proving to the world that you actually, well, don't have anyone who cares. So what happens during the midterm elections then, when suddenly you, I'll digress there for a moment, forgot some of the platforms I'm airing on. But this begs a larger question, doesn't it? You see, because Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi just got caught in the act of proving to the American public that nobody's listening to them. Nobody even tuned in. So who exactly is their voting base? Huh. That's right, because they're fighting for what right now? All starts to make sense, doesn't it? Why they're so diligently shutting down the government. Well, maybe Representative Yvette Clarke and Troy Carter, they can help me understand a little bit more.
And it's so good to be with you this morning. Unfortunately, it's under duress. You can't hear me? I just wanted to say we are here this morning, 6 hours and 36.
And you're gone. That's representative of, in my opinion, pretty much the entire live stream. An absolute disaster that illustrated to the American people. At times you only had, let's go full screen here, 224 watching now. This is the entire Democrat Party. When the White House's live stream, how many did they have going? Oh, that's right, 101,000. Democrats are down to just 200 viewers on their live stream for Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries. Welcome, America, to who the Democrats truly are. Giving President Trump the opportunity now. I can't believe the radical left Democrats just gave me this unprecedented opportunity. They're not stupid, people. So maybe this is their way of wanting to quietly and quickly make America great again. President Donald J. Trump. Folks, the irony in this news cycle is the Democrats have now made it so darn easy. I just try to boil it into a real black and white broadcast for you so you can see it illustrated. This just happened in the last 24 hours. All I do is work really hard to take the primary points and boil them into what is hopefully a very palatable, understandable, and digestible format to illustrate to you exactly how our U.S. government, at least on, well, most of the government, is in complete and total disarray. And anytime and anyone who tells you that the Democrats have any strength as a political party, let me introduce myself. I am the journalistic destroyer, and they just help me to illustrate it to you. I love you all, my friends. Until next time, because now we're going to go on to some success stories. Because remember, the Memphis mayor defies Trump over National Guard deployment. Well, I'd like to illustrate to you what just happened in Memphis and exactly how he maybe shouldn't defy Trump any further, and how Chicago shouldn't have defied Trump because they just found some really bad people. Now, why would those two mayors not want President Trump there when I tell you who they found? Begs a much larger question now, doesn't it? If you're at Restricted Republic, just go over to my exclusive video. If you're not at Restricted Republic, again, join me there. My podcasts very often continue on because they are lengthy and they are detailed, but it keeps you up to speed on the news that matters. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.